Let's get this show on the road. What is good, y'all? It's your boy Blue Sama back here on the Q&A show, and I have a special guest with me, Jake Gracey. You know what I'm saying? I just would like to, thank Jake before we start this podcast for just taking the time out of your day, bro, to just, just come into the studio and talk and have a good conversation, bro, and just get to learn about your life, bro.
Yo, thanks for having me. This is a sick setup here. I like this place a lot. I think you got a good thing going for you, so keep it going, man.
Yes, sir. So, for, let's just start with how'd you get to this point to where, you're able to run two businesses and just, be the man that you are today. So let's just start with your upbringing and stuff like that.
So first off, need me speaking this mic or anything? Or it should be okay?
Yeah.
Cool, we should be alright then. I guess it started off, I was in foster care for 7 years, ages 11 through 18. That was a rough upbringing, obviously. Just in and out of shelter. Thankfully / not thankfully, I was in and out of the same foster home. The family was decent for a little bit, and then they started they were verbally abusive, they were physically abusive to some kids, and I started to see that it was more about the money to them, because there was 9 kids in the household, and they had $150,000 mobile home just chilling, and a Corvette and stuff, and so it clicked it's really about the money. They would adopt some kids to make it look like they were legit, but then there was kids in and out of that place all the time. And what really clicked is later on not after foster care, but it was probably when I got older, I learned from my guardian ad litem or my lawyer that they get money every month for school clothes and supplies and stuff like that, and I never saw a dime.
Like a return on whatever.
Yeah, so you get per kid, each kid gets a monthly, I don't know, the state gives them monthly money so that, if you need food, groceries or school clothes, supplies or anything like that for each kid, which made sense because there's hella kids in the house. But I never saw I didn't see a dime of that. I didn't even know. Yeah, I was oh, they're getting money from me every month. I didn't know that. Wow. Yeah, which explained how they were paying for a lot of this stuff. Which, I was scared to even, Christmas would come around and I wouldn't even ask for I would ask for some items, but, I was scared too, just because I was I don't know if I'm going to get this. And, the environment wasn't that fun. The environment sucked.
See, have you ever watched, Mike? So,
it's been a minute, but yeah, Mike.
I don't know. So Calvin in that movie, he was eventually adopted.
Mm-hmm.
So growing up, that's how I seen foster kids. So is there a lot of bullying that goes on?
It varies. So this foster care itself isn't bad. There is a lot of bad foster parents out there, and growing up with that system and learning more about it, the system sucked. My DHS worker, I had 3 of them, and they all sucked. My lawyer was super cool, and my guardian ad litem, which he was a lawyer, but he speaks what is best, what he thinks is best for the child. And then my lawyer, which his name was Chuck, Jared, my guardian ad litem, I still talk to him. So Jared would speak what he thinks is best for me, and then my lawyer, which is Chuck, would talk to me and then speak on my behalf and be this is what Jake, would like to say. So yeah, my lawyer was cool. My judge was cool. I still talk to my judge. It's been years, 15 years. I still talk to my judge. So that's awesome. She's a good connection and a good contact to have. And then so those 3. So guardian ad litem. My in-home worker, Vince, he was cool too. But my DHS worker was just trying to keep me in shelter, keep me in the system basically. And even my judge was what the hell, why are you in this profession if you really don't care about the kids or whatever you're doing, So the system itself sucks, and there are people that abuse the system, but hopefully it's getting better. And what I've seen and what I've heard over the years, it has been getting better, but that it sucks. It's not everyone's in an orphanage and this, and it's easy to get adopted and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's
It's not as easy as it seems.
Yeah. And I was never like in an orphanage or anything. I was taken from my parents. My parents' rights were terminated, and then I went to shelter, and then shelter they try and figure out like they try and find you like a foster family eventually, and then I found a foster family. Well, they put you in shelter to see, like, this was before your parents' rights were terminated. They put you in the shelter to kind of see how things are going, assess the situation, and then your parents keep fucking up. They like, no. So then they like take your parents' rights, they terminate the rights, and then you're basically like in limbo, like shelter. Your parents can't take care of you because they're deemed unfit, and then they just try and find you a foster family. And then if that works out, they can adopt you if they would like.
Yeah.
But yeah. I was in and out of shelter. I was in my friend's family for a while. They bailed out day of adoption. And then I was a runaway, actually, for a year.
David, adoption?
No, so day of adoption. Yeah, so after foster care, I was living with my friend's family for a while. And then they bailed out day of adoption. Okay. So I was like 16, about to be 17. And once you're 18, you age out of the system. You're deemed legally an adult. Mm-hmm. So I only had like a year left. And me, the entire time, I just wanted to be a kid. I was growing up in the system, is really sheltered and like just really controlling. And so I just wanted to be a kid. I just wanted to skate. I wasn't out like doing drugs or anything or causing mayhem and like having a bunch of sex and shit. I just wanted to skateboard and be a kid. And my DHS worker is just like, no. And my foster family's like, no. And so, long story short, after that, I started living with my friend's family. And then day of adoption, they ended up bailing out over some drama that like was so stupid. They thought that I was trying to sabotage their son's ride to a concert. Mm-hmm. And then like literally over that, it just like blew up. Yeah, it was stupid. It was so stupid, dude. So at the courthouse, I was like, oh, you guys aren't adopting me now? I was like, all right, bye. And I just fucking left. And I was a runaway for a year. Like, straight up runaway, like, couch hop. Yeah, for a full year.
Damn, yo.
Yeah, so basically deemed homeless for a full year.
So, at that point when you were running away, like, where was your mindset at? And where did you find entrepreneurship?
Yeah, so from there, I was a runaway for a full year. Like, I was couch hopping, and it wasn't like I was in trouble. I was just a ward of the state because my parents' rights were terminated. Like, the state was like, we need to find this kid because if something happens, that's our ass. Right. And like courts and everybody will be like, the fuck? How did this foster kid, like, get killed or some shit happen to him? Like, how can we trust the state, know? And so I was a ward of the state. They hired a private investigator to try and find my ass. Yeah. So I'm not kidding you, for like a year straight, I was just like living homies' couches or like just in and out of friends' houses and stuff. And yes, and then like I had a couple jobs and stuff. And then after that, I was in and out of friends' houses and stuff. And then my friend's family, my ex-girlfriend, eventually became like my girlfriend, ex-girlfriend at the time. Her family took me in, and they found out like my situation, so they took me in, and then they were like, you only have like a couple months until you're like 18, so then I actually got busted at a concert. Someone that didn't like me called me in. Yeah, because they knew my situation.
At the concert?
At the concert, yeah. I was like in the pit, like moshing, and then it was like, boom, spotlight. And I was like, what the fuck? And I was like, oh, great. And then they didn't know what to do with me. They were just like, you're not in trouble? I was like, no, like I just ran away from foster care. Because they were going to take me to juvie. Yeah, because they didn't know what to do. So they were like, do we take you to the yes shelter? The yes shelter sucked at that time. And they're like, or do we take this kid to juvie? But they were like, we don't know what to do. I'm like, don't take me to juvie. I was like, I didn't do anything wrong. I was like, I didn't do shit wrong. So,
I'm good, bro.
Yeah, I'm good. No juvie. Cause I went to juvie once for graffiti back. I was like 14 for 2 days. That shit sucked. I was in that bitch for 2 days and I was like plotting my escape. Yeah, dude, that sucked. I was there for two and a half days and that shit sucked. Anyways, yeah, go.
No, I was just going to say,
have you been to juvie?
Yeah.
You were
but not for
Still
2
wild.
days, bro. It was just like for like 3 hours.
Oh, really? I was in that bitch for 2 days.
Yeah, 3 hours, bro. My mom was like, keep that man in there. I don't want to come get him. I'm like, Mom. Like, unfortunately.
What'd you do? Okay, we won't get there.
Fuck it, bro. Live your truth, bro. I stole a bottle.
You stole a bottle?
First night, bro. I stole a bottle. Yeah.
We all do stupid shit. Yeah, I was like Picasso, in there, like just painter's touch in there with kids that are like, oh, I robbed.
Yeah.
Some kid, what do you do? Like GTA and shit and like stole a car and like had a gun.
Yeah.
Crazy shit. And I'm like, oh, I just spray painted some buildings. Yeah, and I'm Picasso in there.
Yeah. I mean, you should have went on the train and did that shit.
Yeah, so I was in there for 2.5 days. But anyway, so I got busted, popped out, and I was in there, and then Cheyenne's family took me in, and they were just like, yeah, we literally, you have 3 months. So I didn't, when the cops took me, I went to shelter. That shelter place sucked. So then my guardian ad litem called me, Jared, the one that I still talk to. He's like, hey, man, how are you? Good to hear from you. I'm like, what's up, man? He's like, well, how you been? I'm like, I'm good. Yeah, I was still vegetarian that entire time. I still wasn't out, doing drugs and shit, so I was still straight edge. I was just like, yeah, I just didn't want to go back to shelter like you guys were trying to put me in. He's like, no, well, good to hear from you. And then that was, I think I got popped Friday night. So Saturday he called me, and he said, okay, we're going to try and figure out court and get stuff going. So he called me, or they called, and they're like, oh, you have court on, I think it was Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wait, what? I have court on Monday? They're like, yeah. I was like, that doesn't happen. It takes a week to schedule and shit. So I think I went in on Monday, or it was Wednesday. Went in, and my judge, the same judge, Judge Cohen, was just like, oh, hey, how are you? Good to see you. You look great, and there's my damn DHS worker, fucking not nice lady. Yeah. And, she's still in there oh, we need to keep him in the shelter and this and that and blah, blah, blah.
Why do you think she was trying to keep you in the shelter, though?
Dude, that's what sucked about it is I wasn't a bad kid. She just I don't know, thought that I was a bad kid and my foster family, they were just they just wanted that control, I guess is what it was. Mm-hmm. And so, she was just like, all right, well, when can we meet up next to try and figure out what's going on with Jake? Mm-hmm. And my DHS worker was check your schedule, I don't know, we'll see. And she's like, all right, what about next Tuesday? She's like, it's not gonna work for me. And she's like, all right, Wednesday. She's like, all right, Thursday. Slam the gavel. Mm. Yeah, so literally it went from court at random, which that doesn't happen. And then she's like, all right, next Thursday, or rough estimate was okay, here's what we're doing, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. My DHS worker did not like that. Because once again, everybody else was on my side, but she was trying to keep me in the shelter and stuff. Stupid.
Do you even think she took the time to even study who you were and where your mindset?
No, and that's what I'm saying is that to her I was just another kid in the system, and that's what sucked is because I get it, it's stressful. I'm sure you got 5 other kids, and I'm sure their families are much worse, and I've heard terrible stories and stuff, but still you gotta get to know these kids, you gotta get to know these families and stuff. Mm-hmm. You can't just treat them just whatever, another kid in the system. We're human beings. Thanks. We're people. And
that's exactly how I felt on probation, but that's another story for another day.
Yeah.
They just don't take the time to realize that.
They just see you as another kid in the system, and it sucks. No, so from there, went to Cheyenne's family. They took me in, blah blah blah, and then I turned 18. And the plan was that when I turned 18, I'd move out, get a job, be an adult. The fucking thing was, I turned 18, and I'm I don't know what the fuck I want to do in my life.
Right.
Shit. I'm 26, and I'm still what do I want to do in my life?
Amen.
So, it's right, yeah. That's why I didn't like high school so much and middle schools. For one, I just hated my life because of me at that point in life. Life just sucked. Mm-hmm. But, I went to school, and I was just why do I need to learn calculus and physics and all this shit? I'm not gonna be a fucking rocket scientist, It just wasn't enjoyable. The teachers didn't take the time, once again, and they're oh, you're just another student. Yeah. Some of the teachers were hella cool, but a lot of the teachers in there were you were just another student, and they just, didn't care. So, I was man, I also was let's say you go to school to be a lawyer, right? Yeah. Thousands of dollars in debt, I don't know, $100,000 in debt. what if you're a lawyer for like 2 months and you're like, this job sucks?
Yeah.
I fucking hate this job. What do? You just went to school for like 8 years to be a fucking lawyer, you know? So that's why I was just like, no, I don't want to do that. So I didn't graduate high school because they dropped me out when I ran away. Like, I think they called my school and I was like, yeah, Jake's not coming back. Yeah. And then, so I dropped out and my plan was to get my GED. Well, when, like, right after all of that, I got a job at like Applebee's and Abercrombie. I worked at Abercrombie for a little bit and at Applebee's. And those were like my first 2 jobs. So I was doing that for a while. And then I got the sales job at the fair. You ever see those guys with like microphones? And they're trying to sell you shit you don't want to buy. Yeah. You know, like, but wait, there's more. You know, those like big salesmen. Yeah, that was my job. So that was my job for years. And I traveled the United States. I went to like over like 45 states, home and garden shows, Christmas events, fairs, expos. And I was just selling products. It was great money. I remember in one weekend, dude, and I made straight commission too. Yeah. And I made like, I think it was like $5,000-$6,000 in like one weekend or some shit. Yeah, I was just like, yeah, this job's fucking sick. Yeah. And do
you think like being able to travel opened your eyes to the world?
Yeah, like that? So that's also what helped me develop like really good social skills. Mm-hmm. So like I can talk to anybody. I'm not awkward at all. I'll just walk up to you tell me right now to walk up to whoever on the street, I can walk up to them and talk to them about anything, man. Yeah. So that's why like I don't have like social anxiety or anything. I can talk to people. Interviews go super easy. Like if I job, like I'm really personable and stuff. And over the years, people are like, Jake, you know everybody. Yeah. Well, I mean, I have developed, obviously, because like my clothing line, being in a band, car stuff, like I developed not like I'm not like famous, but I do have a following. You know, people care to see what I'm doing in life, which is cool. And like, I'm super grateful for that. But I mean, the social skills have definitely helped, you know, because of that job. So anyways, I was doing that and, I did that for a while and the job was great. And then I ended up, the clothing line kind of fell in my lap. So like I was doing that job and then it was 16 when Bernie Sanders was running for president. Yeah. Well, my friend, her name's Holly. Shout out to Holly. She made this cool Bernie Sanders shirt. It looked like a hardcore, like a band t-shirt. So like, I mean, you get an idea. So like the front had like a logo and then the rear had Bernie Sanders like at a rally, and a lot of like hardcore metal style t-shirts will have like a photo of the band and then it'll have the lyrics. Yeah. Well, it looked just like that. And she's like this alternative chick that's like tattooed and stuff. And she posted it in this Bernie Sanders dank meme page and it blew the fuck up. Like I'm talking like it was like 10,000 likes. This was like in an hour. Yeah. I was like, holy fuck. And yeah, go ahead.
No, I was actually because I was gonna say something about your Space Shot Shirley.
Oh yeah, the Space Shot Shirley shirt. Yeah,
that blew up too. But, we'll just stick with the Bernie right now.
Yeah, and I'll get into all that too. So this is like how my clothing line started. Like I said, it literally just like fell in my lap. Yeah. So I saw that, and in the comments, it was like blowing up. Like I'm not kidding you. There's like thousands of comments and likes. And everybody in the comment section was like, where can I buy one? Where can I buy one? And she was like, oh, like I just made it for me. She went to like t-shirtcreator.com or something. And it like blew the fuck up. And she was like, oh, I just made one like for, you know, my purpose. But like I'll send you the files and you can make your own design. Yeah. And I was like, oh, dude, people are going to steal this fucking design and try and sell it. So I hit her up and I was like, hey, like, look, I know we don't know each other at all in any way, shape, or form, but these kids are about to fuck you out of a lot of money. And because I ran like my band's Facebook page and stuff, I had the connections with all the merch, getting it all printed and whatnot and everything. And I was just like, instead of just printing my band shit, you know, I'll just print this shit. So I hit her up and I was like, hey, look, if you want to, you know, make some money and we can figure something out. I was like, I have all these connections. I run all this stuff. I was like, I'll make the PayPal. I'll make the big cartel really quick. I'll get the design made. You just kind of be the promotion and like we could see where this goes. And she was like, yeah, sure. So I shit you not, dude. I had my buddy like MS Paint a fucking mock-up really quick of this shirt. Yeah. And I'm not kidding you. In like a fucking hour, we had like over 200 shirt orders. And within a few days, I had $25,000 on a fucking PayPal account that I just made in a week. Yeah. PayPal froze the fucking account because they thought I was committing fraud, dude. They thought I was fucking all these people out of their money. Yeah, and so Holly was like, yeah, like, we can donate some money to the Bernie campaign and stuff. I'm like, this is amazing. Like, I'm way down. Like, I'm a huge Bernie Sanders supporter. And so, yeah, I shit you not, in like less than a week, we had $25,000 on this PayPal account that I just made. So PayPal froze my shit, right? Yeah. So there were pre-orders for the shirts. So they froze my account. I don't have money. I can't get money from the account, right?
Right.
Well, my buddy sends me a bill to print the shirts for like, it was like $4,000, $5,000, okay? Mm-hmm. But I'm like, I can't print these shirts until I get the money. But I can't get the money until I print the shirts. Because they're like, well, yeah, you got to prove you're not committing fraud. Like, we see it's shirts, but like, where's the physical stuff? I'm like, oh, these are pre-orders. Yeah. And they were like, no, you have to ship some shirts out. We're going to refund the money. I was like, you're going to refund there's like 1,000 orders. So you're going to fucking refund. Are you kidding me? Like, what the fuck? Yeah. So I call my buddy. Shout out to John in Minneapolis. I'm pretty sure it was John. Yeah, I think it was John. So I call, it was either John or Relentless. I don't remember, but call him up and they're just like, and he's like, yeah, I'll front them to you. So he fronted me $5,000 worth of shirts. Cause I was like, look, dude, like, I know this sucks, but I'm like, I need some shirts or PayPal's going to do all this. And so he like believed in me and did that. So he sends me $5,000 worth of shirt. I turned my apartment living room into like a fucking sweatshop for these shirts, dude. I have like small, medium, large. There's shirts all up in my living room. I hired friends to come over, and this was before I had like a label printer and shit, so we had to handwrite every single fucking label out, dude. And so we just had boxes. I'm like, all right, cool, go to the post office, go stand in line. And then they had to stand in line and pay for all of them. Now I have a label printer. I just go, click out whatever, print it off, and I just drop the shit off. But now I had boxes that we had to like wait in line. So not only, I'm not kidding, I paid all my friends. We had like a sweatshop going on in the living room. Drop off all these shirts. We ended up raising like, I think it was, I don't remember the exact amount. I need to go back and look, but we raised like, I think it was like $3,500 or so for the Bernie campaign. And it was great. Sold a bunch. So that's how that fell in my lap. Cause I was like, oh, okay, like this is awesome. Yeah. I can sell shirts. I kind of know what I'm doing now. And I was like, what if I come up with other ideas? Yeah. So I just started coming up with other ideas and stuff, and it just like took off from there. Yeah. Yeah. So I would just make like hype meme shirts. Like there'd be a new meme, and I would turn into like a hardcore style shirt. So I made one that was like Stone Cold Steve Austin on the back of the shirt. Yeah. What did it say?
What would you say is like your top seller?
The Bernie shirts still. Yeah. We only printed them for just like the election and stuff, but I reprinted like 2 of the same designs because we reprinted a 2020 design, so that popped off. I mean, you remember when Harambe the gorilla got shot? You remember the gorilla Harambe?
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Everybody knows Harambe. So when Harambe got shot, R.I.P. Harambe, we made Harambe shirts. Remember how the meme was like dicks out for Harambe? Yeah. I made a shirt. I shit you not. So it was a hardcore style shirt. On the front it said Harambe Hardcore, and on the back it was, we photoshopped a gorilla's face on a vocalist. Yeah. And then his shirt said Zoo Crew. And then it said dicks out for Harambe. I sold those like hotcakes. People are giving me so much shit. They're like, that shirt's so cringy. But I was like, it's paying my bills. I don't give a fuck. Yeah. It's a funny shirt, you know, like, dude, it's a shirt. I don't care. So yeah, I made a bunch of those. That was a top seller. What else? I made Buddy the Elf hardcore shirts, the North Pole hardcore shirts. I made those. Those sold pretty well.
So like during that whole moment, mm-hmm. Did you ever come to the like thought like, oh shit, man, maybe this is getting too much, I should just back up?
No, because especially with my like sales experience from my sales job, it was always like just taking money. It was just like always have an answer for everything. And so like I was just like go-getter mode always, because you got to remember that I was commissioned. And if people aren't buying, I'm not making money. Right. You know, the more I sell, the more I buy. And so I would just like boom, 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 boom. And so that's how it was. I never was like, it was always like, okay, shit, the money's here. I got to figure this out. because I can always refund the money. You know, if I didn't have the shirts at that time or there's something pausing from me, I would always follow up and be like, hey, it's going to take longer. Okay. But I would have this. The opportunity was there. I just had to seize that opportunity. And yeah, there was never like, oh shit. A couple times I was like, oh fuck. Like, you know, I was like, I have $25,000 in the PayPal account. Like, I was like, oh, so stressful, man. But I got to figure it out. You know, my homie fronted me $5,000 in shirts. I paid up, you know, my friends, packaged the shirts, got it going, shipped them all out, got it figured out. PayPal and froze my account. It was good.
So where did, like, your passion for, like, Japanese cars and just vehicles come into play?
So growing up, I actually hated, like, working on my dad's cars and shit. Yeah. Like, I did not enjoy that. I enjoyed baseball and then eventually skateboarding and video games. Those were, like, my 3 things growing up. Fishing with my dad. But that was, like, my 3 to 4 things. I didn't like, my dad would be like, hey, come help me bleed the brakes. And, like, I did not, you know, like, it was cool to help my dad, but, like, it just wasn't, like, a passion. You know, like, stereotypical people like, yeah, I grew up, like, with cars or my parents, my dad helping. That wasn't me. Like, my dad was kind of into, like, doing that, but we never had, like, a project car to build or anything. So that came around when I started, like, making my own money and stuff. I started hanging, like, some of my friends started getting cars, and I started seeing cooler cars. And I was like, man, that's cool. Because my first car was a Ford Taurus. Shout out to my dad. Thank you. I drove that car to the fucking ground. I drove that car all over the United States, selling and shit. Yeah, that was my main, because flying was sometimes expensive, so I'd drive the fucking car. I drove that fucking car until that bitch broke. Yeah. Like, I drove that car everywhere. Anyways, so I had a Ford Taurus. I can't do shit to a Ford Taurus. Shout out to BJ. BJ's got a bag, candy paint, lowrider Taurus. That thing's sick. But I couldn't do shit to a Ford Taurus. I could not. So, my friends started having cars and shit. And I was like, oh, like, cars are sick. And I started making my own money. And I said, okay, fuck it, I'm gonna do this. So I bought, what was my first car I bought? I think it was a 2005 Mazda 3 hatchback.
Was it one of those, like, race cars?
No, I bought a Volkswagen Jetta 06 GLI, so it was turbo. I had that for like 2 weeks, and the insurance was gonna be too expensive on it. Yeah. So I flipped it for $1,000 more than what I paid for it. Yeah, so that was tight. So that was my first car. I had it for 2 weeks, and then I flipped it, and then from there I bought a 2005 Mazda 3 hatchback. Didn't do much to that, and then I ended up buying a 2012, which I pulled a loan on. And then that one, like, I put on air suspension and got my wheels all done up and stuff. And then, so, like, that was sick. And then the passion for right-hand drives came in because I was always, like, I'm always been a huge fan of, like, the Japanese culture, like, everything, whether it's, like, from samurais to fucking Gundams. I wasn't really big into anime, but, like, just that culture was super sick. And I was like, this is fucking awesome. So, I was like, this is sick. So I saw a Nissan President once. Like, I've always been a fan of, like, big body, like, sedans, like, shit that, like, it looks like a mafia, someone in the mafia, like a drug lord would drive, you know, shit that just looks sick. So I saw one as a Nissan President, and I was like, that sounds sick, like, Nissan President. And I just was sick. And I was like, like, right-hand drives aren't, like, obtainable. Like, I had a couple friends, but they, you know, I just didn't think they were obtainable. And then I found out they were obtainable, and I was like, I'm selling this car right the fuck now. So I sold my Mazda 3, I parted it out, blah, 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 and then I bought my Nissan President. I bought it.
And that was the one on the right side?
Like, yeah.
On the right?
Yeah. So it was my first one. I have multiple now. So yeah, I bought that one. Did that all up. And so that's the one that's developed a majority of the following fit in the car scene. For one, they're pretty rare. There's, I think, like 2 in the Midwest. I know my buddy Chris in Ohio has one, but as far as that goes, I don't know if there's any other. I have another one coming. But yeah, so it's just, you know, I take it to car shows and stuff, and it's sick. You know, it's right-hand drive, straight from Japan, super awesome. And when I finally got that car, I was just, like, immersed in the right-hand drive, like, Japanese culture. So, yeah, I've just been a big fan of it. And I just, you know, it was one of those things, like, just seize the opportunity. Like, I was like, okay, I can obtain these cars. Fuck it. So, just do it, you know? Just do it.
I like seize the opportunity.
Yeah, dude, follow your dreams, man.
Oh, God. So, when you first got the right-hand side driver, was it, like, difficult?
Was it weird? Yeah. So, I'll break that down real quick. So,
Because I was talking to this dude, he just got from I think it was the UK, and he said when he first got here, he was like, "Why the fuck are you guys driving on this?"
Yeah, we do everything the wrong way. That's what they're like, you guys do shit the wrong way, which is true, we do. But so first off, my car only comes in automatic, which is good. I mean, I can drive stick regardless, but I think it would be super weird because you would still shift the same. So it'd be like first, second, third, fourth, but you would just literally be on the other side of the car shifting, with your left hand.
Yeah.
But so the main thing is, so like, when you're in your left driving and you go reverse, you look over your right shoulder. Well, now if I'm in the right and look over the right shoulder, I have a fucking window pillar right here, and I have to like overextend, which I still do because reversing like this with your right hand, it's weird.
Yeah.
So reversing was weird. Now I'm on the right side, so instead of hugging this side, I'm hugging like the center line or shit, which sometimes is awkward because I'm like right up close to cars. And then turning, and then my blinkers and my windshield wipers were swapped. So my blinker is over here now, and then my windshield wipers over here. So I remember the first 2 weeks, I would just get in my car, like, oh, left turn. My wipers are like doing this shit. Like, fuck. So yeah, so now it's like every day because all my cars that I drive are right-hand drive. So it's like the only cars that I don't drive are my work. So like my game truck, that's left, obviously, and then FedEx is left.
And is that weird now? Like,
no, not at all. Dude, not at all. Like now, like it's just like I'm going to my car, cool, I get on the right side. I don't get on the left. At first that was the thing too. I'd go to get in my car and I like get in the left side and I'm like, fuck, and like my steering wheel's not here, it's on the other side. So I like get out, walk around the car. Now I only do that like if I'm busy and my mind's on something else, and I'm just coming from work, and then I'll open it, but I'll catch myself like when I'm walking to the other side or something. I don't like get in and sit anymore.
That's funny.
Yeah, it was weird. Drive-thrus are weird. Everyone's like, go through reverse. That's such like a clout thing. Like online for a while, like people would like just post videos of them going through the drive-through reverse because they're on the right side. That's such a clout thing, especially my wheels. I don't have money to pay for like. Because I curb my wheel or some shit. Fuck that. So I just drive in, and then I had one of those like trash bag like pickup things. Yeah, so I would like hand them the money because I gotta like lean over. So I'd like put the money in and I'd hand them the money and shit. Yeah.
That's classic.
Yep.
That's funny.
Money moves right there. Yeah, so I don't know, it's weird. It's cool though. The looks that I get, the conversations I have with people that like aren't even car people. It's just people in general. Like, I remember the first, 2 weeks I had the president. It was, bone stock, kind of looks like a Lincoln Q45. I had some old-ass lady. She's probably, 75. She told me to roll down my window. And she's like, what car is that? And I was like, sick. This lady likes my car. Awesome.
Speaking of lady, before we get off this topic, let's talk about the space shot Shirley.
Oh, yeah. So, back to the space shot Shirley. So, and that ties in with my clothing line. So I was at Adventureland with my sister, and there was this elderly woman that was riding the space shot. So we rode it, didn't think anything of it, got off, walked around the park a few hours, came back to ride the space shot again, and that same lady was riding that fucking ride, dude. I'm not kidding you. And then it clicked, and I was like, I was confused. No idea. Come to find out, they call her nickname is Space Shot Shirley because that's the only thing she rides. She'll ride other stuff occasionally. Yeah. She holds the record for the most consecutive rides on that ride. You guys know what the space shot is? The space shot is it's a tall tower and it shoots you up really fast. Yeah, this lady's 75 and would ride that shit. I'm not kidding you. I think the most she's ever rode it in one consecutive time was it's 320 times.
In one day or
consecutive? 1 day.
Wow.
1 day. Okay. Yeah, I'm not kidding you. So I don't remember. I was in line or something, and we were talking about her, and oh, it's space shot Shirley. And I was like, wait, what? Are you what? It just blew my mind that this 75-year-old lady rolled this fucking ride literally all day. It just blew my mind. So I think I sat next to her, and we just started talking, and the sweetest elderly woman you could ever imagine. And we just talked and talked and talked. And it was dude, she was my best friend. I was so I rode She was like, hey, can we go again? Because, like, dude, she rides that shit so many times. As long as there's not a line or many people, they let her ride it again. She doesn't get off the fucking ride, dude. I'm not kidding you. She just rides that shit. And when they tell her, she'll get mad, dude. She'll get mad and like, Shirley, you gotta get off and get in line. She'll get mad. Yeah. Dude, it's hilarious. They're like, all right, Shirley, you gotta get back in line. She'll like, pout and like walk around. But yeah, she just rides that shit. So anyways, I wrote it like a few times consecutive. We were talking, became best friends, blah, blah, blah. Well, I posted, because like I took a photo with her, I think, and like I just posted like my story of how I met this like wonderful elderly lady, and it blew up just like on Facebook, blew up. You know, got I think like 10. I still have the post. I'll send it to you. I still have the post, and it just blew up. And I remember like all these people reaching out to me like, "Yo, let's Space Shot Shirley. I know her. I've seen her. Blah blah blah, and all this stuff." And with like past stuff in my clothing line, I've like raised funds for different organizations and stuff and always donated. Because my main thing is like I always try to give back because for one, I mean, I think you should just give back anyway, you know, just be a good person, you know, give back and stuff because that's how communities reshape and that's how things happen, you know, if you care, you know. Just like the Lorax quote, there's a big quote to me, unless someone like you cares an awful lot, nothing's going to change. It's not. So that's the thing is, you know, they may not care, but it starts with you. And then, you know, it'll like snowball and other people will care and stuff. So I always try to like give back no matter what I'm doing. I try and pay it forward. So with my past, like donating and stuff, you know, and everyone's like, oh, like shirts and stuff. I was like, I'm going to make a fucking Space Shot Shirley shirt. Yeah. And the money I make from that, I'm going to donate and buy her a pass because she I think it was her family or someone, but they buy her pass, her Adventureland pass. So I sold those shirts. Those shirts are sick. I had my buddy turn her into a superhero, like a cartoon superhero. Yeah. So it's her, Shirley, and then they put like a super suit on it, and it says Space Shot Shirley. It's sick. That shirt goes so hard. And I got her one too. But yeah, all these people were buying Space Shot Shirley shirts, and then we donated the money so she'd buy a pass. Yeah, and then the cool thing was she was my pen pal. She would write me letters, dude. Yeah, like she would write me letters, and I would get letters from her.
Like after this happened?
Yeah, after this happened, we became friends. Yeah. She like wrote me letters and shit.
Wow.
Yeah, it was sick. And then so yeah, a while later, because just life happened and stuff, but I met up with her and I gave her the money for the pass, and then I gave her her own Space Shot Shirley shirt. Yeah, it was cool. The Wolf Eye Clinic, the clinic that like I think she delivers their mail or something. I don't know, it's been a while, but I think she delivers their mail. But they reached out to me and they were like, yeah, like you can come here and, you know, surprise her and stuff. So same thing. I got like a video like surprising her and shit. Yeah, it was like my best friend. It's crazy. Yeah.
Do you plan on taking her to Adventureland this coming up here?
Well, as long as fucking COVID. See, that was the worst thing, dude. I was like, dude, you know, because COVID is the boomer doomer, you know? That's what they call it, the boomer doomer. So I'm like worried, like I'm gonna phone call that COVID took Shirley. Oh, I swear to God, if COVID takes Shirley, all you anti-maskers are gonna die. I know we're not wearing a mask, but that's because we've been like quarantined, we hung out and shit, okay? But yeah, boomer doomer, man. I will fucking whoop some anti-maskers ass if y'all motherfuckers took Shirley away.
On God.
Yeah, on God.
Man, that's crazy. So how have you been doing like through the whole COVID thing? Like
so the clothing line, so COVID, my main thing with the clothing line is I never had like a physical location. I never had like a clothing store simply because it was much easier for me just to sell clothing online. I don't have to pay any overhead at a shop. I don't have to sit at a shop every day from 9 to 5 hoping that some random dude walks in and then likes my shit, you know? And I just wasn't about that. Like I had friends that had clothing lines and like obviously they didn't last too long, but I was just like, nah, I don't want to do that because my niche is online. I can just make money while I sleep and then I have like a day job to help pay for whatever. And then that keeps me busy and motivated. Because I mean, shit, you know, during COVID and shit, you remember like when there were first online classes, you'd be like, what the fuck? Yeah, you have the power, you know, you're like, oh, like I'm at home doing online classes. You don't have no motivation. You're at fucking home. You're like, I'm gonna play video games and eat. You know, I don't want to do schoolwork. At least if you're at a school environment, you're like, oh, I'm here. I may as well do schoolwork. That wasn't my case in high school because I didn't do that. But anyways, at least if you're in that environment, that's your mindset. Versus when you're at home, you're like, I don't want to fucking do this.
Why?
Yeah, right? Yeah. So I didn't have a storefront because it was much easier just to sell clothing online and stuff. And then once COVID hit, once again, I was like, okay, thank God. Like, if I had a storefront, I can't even imagine, the lockdowns and stuff like that. Like, I couldn't even imagine. I have friends that own venues and bars and stuff. And, like, my entire, sales job, that's what they would do. They would, book these, they would have these products or these products made. Yeah. And then I would have to sell them. Well, now we can't sell these anywhere other than, obviously, like, eBay and stuff. But then it puts me out of a job because I can't sell these products. There's no fairs going on. There's no home and garden shows. None of that. And then all my friends that are in touring bands and stuff and all that, like, there's no concerts going on here. There's no tours, like, nothing.
I was just about to say that, too, because I know you're in a band and stuff like that. Like, has that affected you guys as, like...
Yeah, so we weren't, like... I mean, we've been serious before. We've gone on tours and stuff like that. But now, like, we're all older and, like, we have jobs and shit and, like, lives that, we've understood that, like, okay, the band isn't like that anymore. But, yeah, like, it's affected us. Like, we would play shows and stuff. I remember right before COVID, we played a cover set. It was sick. We played, we were a Day to Remember. One band was like Fall Out Boy. Another band was Paramore. It was sick. It was a sold out show. Fucking hundreds of kids. I have videos of just people singing. It was a blast. It was awesome. But yeah, like, we're not playing that right now. Yeah. I would love to be playing that shit right now, But
what's your favorite thing about performing?
Just the... It's just fun. Just the adrenaline rush that you get just from, like, playing drums and shit. And I'll send you videos. Like, it's a blast.
No, I would like to see more videos.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, I seen one of your videos, where you were drumming and stuff like that. Man, I wish I was alive right now. I'll pull it up.
Yeah.
But when did you start to get into like drumming and just wanting to be a part of like it's heavy metal, right?
Yeah. So I wanted to play guitar first, but that didn't work out. It just didn't come naturally to me. Like I was like a moron trying to play this fucking instrument. It just wasn't working out.
Guitar Hero?
No, I did. I'm really fucking good at Guitar Hero. So it's weird. I'm dumb good at Guitar Hero, and like I can like the finger movements, and, like I can keep rhythm and like whatever. But then like you give me 6 strings, 7 strings, I'm a fucking idiot. I can't do it. But drums came naturally. I don't know. I had some friends growing up that had drum sets, and I would just hop on them, and like I could keep a beat, and I could just get to it. Well, then when Rock Band came out, because I was really good at Guitar Hero, and I was, like, I like drums. Like, drums were always, like, my thing, but drums were expensive as shit. Yeah. Anybody can buy, like, a first act guitar with, like, a little pocket amp, like, $100. But a fucking full-on drum set was, like, expensive, Yeah. And, so Rock Band came out. My dad bought me Rock Band, and that helped me because there was, like, a practice mode and helped me, like, keep time, the metronome and stuff. And there was, like, metal songs on there, and that was, like, a blast. Yeah. Anyway, So then I got into, like, the music scene. I got into the hardcore scene because of Derek Simpson. Shout out to him. He's at the 4 Mile Skate Park. And it was just some dude on a BMX bike. He had boxing gloves tattooed on his chest, and they had X's. So, like, the symbolism for straight edge. And he was like, hey, man, you should check out my band. And he would, like, always have headphones in, and he was always giving me a fucking headphone. And it was just, like, just loud, like, hardcore, like, punk rock, like metal and shit, and I was like, oh, like, cool, this is sick. I didn't really listen to any of that, but I was like, this is sick, like, cool. He's like, yeah, man, come to a show sometime. So I eventually, like, started going to shows thanks to him, and that's how I learned, like, what straight edge was and stuff, because, like, I don't drink or smoke or anything, and, so yeah, he was in Stand United at the time, and I started getting into that scene, and then I started meeting other musicians and stuff, and then my mom eventually bought me a drum set. And I joined my first band, which is I'm still in, Main State, but it was called The Impact of Reason at the time. And I remember I didn't have a drum set at that time, and I tried out for the band at Guitar Center on one of their electric drum sets. Yeah. I was playing for like 5 minutes, and like, yo, you fucking shred, like, you're in. And I was like, sick. I didn't have a drum set at the time, so their old drummer that they were kicking out, they still had his drum set in the bassist's basement, so I'd play on his drum set for practice and shit.
Just for practice.
Yeah, I didn't have a drum set, and then my mom, she eventually bought me one. But yeah, so that's how like I got into that scene. Yeah, I couldn't play guitar. I really wanted to. I wish I could. I just can't.
And
I can't.
You didn't want to like join band in school?
No, because I wanted to play hardcore and metal and shit. I couldn't fucking, they'd be like, here, you gotta do this. I'm like, I'm over here with like a double kick and shit, fucking playing. Yeah. Right? Just,
but
I didn't want to. I mean, I would have helped me with rudiments and shit, and like helped me, learn a bunch of stuff. But like now, I'm all self-taught, just watching metal videos and listening to heavy shit. Yeah.
Let me ask you this, because this is the question I really want to know.
Mm-hmm.
With being in that, because metal is a dark world, you know what I'm saying?
To an extent, it can be, yeah.
But
I guess any genre will have their niche of like darkness and whatever and whatnot.
No, hip hop definitely has it.
Yeah, 100%.
Definitely. I was gonna say too, like, how are you able to like not fall in line with like like the drugs and the drinking and just what I'm saying?
Yeah. So thankfully, not thankfully, but my past. I went to foster care because my mom's drug abuse and my dad's alcoholism. So my mom just got bored and started doing drugs. Eventually went to like crack and stuff, and she started selling shit in the house. And then drug dealers would show up to my house and be like, "Hey, is Darla here? Where's my money?" My dad would be like, "Who the fuck are you? The fuck?" So we found out what was going on, and then my dad started drinking a lot more, and then shit just got bad. And then so that all happened, and then that just wasn't something that I really wanted to be a part of, I guess, like in high school and shit. Like all these kids, like they were just like getting fucked up, and like it just, to me, I was just like, what are you guys gaining out of this? Like I've drank a couple times. I've never been drunk. I've never been high. I've never even smoked weed. Believe it or not, never smoked weed. But I would just hang out with those kids because it's fun to do hood rat shit with your friends.
No, facts.
Yeah, it's fun to do bad shit. But so I would always hang out with those kids. I just didn't do drugs because it hurt my past and shit. And I was like, I don't want to be a part of this. Well, and then I found out what straight edge was. There's like an actual straight edge scene, which that like whole terminology and stuff was coined like back in the 90s punk scene and late 80s, 90s punk scene. And I just learned like what straight edge was, and straight edge was just like no drinking, no drugs, no smoking. And I learned that, and I think like I learned what that was in like 7th grade because they're like, "Oh, you don't do anything," which blows my it blows my mind to think about. Like there are 7th graders that like do drugs and shit. It blows my mind.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh fuck, like because then I was like, oh, I'm in 7th grade, I'm in 8th grade, like I'm like badass. But now I'm like, y'all are fucking children. Like, where are your parents? Like what the fuck. So anyways, they're like, oh, you don't do anything? No, like, you're angel blood or you're straight edge. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? Like, I just don't do anything. Like, oh, you're straight edge. But then, going to the hardcore scene and stuff, I learned what straight edge was. And, like, there's actually a movement for that. And straight edge is just like a set of rules and guidelines to, better yourself and your surrounding. And straight edge people typically, like, take that to the grave with them. Like, straight edge for life. Like, there's a difference between being sober and then there's a difference between being straight edge. And straight edge is just like, it's like vegetarian and veganism, the straight edge or being sober, like you can do stuff, but you're typically sober. Like my dad's been sober for like 10 years now. He hasn't, drank beer or anything, but he still, I think, like chews or like smokes cigarettes. He's not abusing these, but he still does something. People that are straight edge, like they don't fuck with anything. Me, as far as straight edge goes, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't take pills or anything unless I'm like dying. Like I'll be on my fucking deathbed before I take like a pill of anything. Yeah. Like ibuprofen, nothing. I'll be like literally on my fucking deathbed.
See, I don't fuck around with pills. Those serve they never will.
Yeah, man. And so I don't do any of that. I don't drink caffeine. I don't even eat chocolate because of the caffeine. I'm not kidding you. I just don't. The reason why is because growing up 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, Halo. I'd play Halo like it's my fucking day job, and I would just drink Mountain Dew Livewire all the time and Red Bulls and Monster. Yeah. Dude, I would get such bad headaches. And I was like, I should probably stop this. And yeah, so I stopped drinking caffeine, which that helped a lot too. Yeah, oh man, it was bad.
How has being straight edge, like, how have you been able to like just see opportunities? Like you said, like being able to capitalize off the opportunities that's given to you. Like
So a lot of people over the years, and this has always happened, whether it was high school or when I got my clothing line to, cars and all this stuff, all the question was like, Jake, how are you traveling so much? Or like, hey Jake, how are you like successful with this? Or how did you have your clothing line? Or what are you doing? And for me, the answer was always like, I wasn't always out Friday, Saturday, Sunday getting fucked up and just spending all my money and shit. I would hang out with my friends, but I would be like not the babysitter, but I'd be like the DD always and stuff. Like, I never did any of that shit, but I would still go hang out with all my homies and stuff.
Yeah.
What happened is they would just be like blowing fucking money, and it would just develop into a habit, and like, you know, they would just like, oh fuck, like I was at the club last night and I just spent like $300.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck, how? Like, if I spent $300, I'd be like, fuck.
Yeah.
Right? I'm like, what? How? So I would always, and I'd put different things in perspective. You know, like people are like, Jake, how can you travel? I'm like, we just bought a new iPhone for $1,000.
Yeah.
My trip was $600.
Yeah.
You have $400 right there. You just paid $1,000 for a new iPhone. You know,
Yeah.
like, and no hating. Like, I have a new iPhone, but like,
Yeah.
so that's what I'm saying. Like, I would see that shit. You know, I'm just like, you have to step back and think outside of the box. You know, like, what do you want? Do you want the new iPhone, or do you want to travel? Whether it's in the States or whether it's, especially right now during COVID, fuck, dude, flights are so cheap.
Yeah.
Everything's cheap right now. So that's what I'm saying. Like, do you want the new iPhone? Do you want to do this? Do you want this? Do you want to do this? It's all just like what you want. You got to step back from that. And so not drinking and drugs and all that shit, that has helped me. Even like occasionally I'll get on, like, I'll put the app on my phone, that like smoking calculator, so you can type in like how long you haven't smoked and stuff, and like how many packs you would smoke and stuff, and it'll just show you like how much money you've saved.
Yeah.
Thousands of dollars, dude. And that's just like cigarettes. So think about like if you chew, smoke cigarettes, smoke weed, you know, drink and stuff. So it's just all this money that I was saving from that I would set aside, and I would put that into my car, or I would save it for traveling, or I would, you know, do shit that I wanted versus like get fucked up, which that's fine. Like, I don't have a problem with that. There's a difference between use and abuse, and a lot of people don't know that line. You know, like, there's one thing, like, oh, yeah, you went to the bar, you drank a little bit, or you're drinking occasionally, but if you're, like, making a habit every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, like I was telling you earlier, like, I have friends, like, they don't smoke weed anymore, but they have their vape pens, the THC pods and stuff, and that's all they do every day. They just vape it. It becomes a habit, you know, and it becomes addicting mentally and physically now, because you're just hitting it. Like, you're like a robot. You don't even understand. You're just hitting that. And then that costs money, and you're just stuck in this circle, you know? Which, like I'm saying, it's not that, like, it's bad for you. I mean, eventually, yeah, it can be bad for you. I mean, I don't think hitting a vape pen all day, every day is good for you, essentially. Yeah. But you're, like, in this circle, and then you just, you know, you're not even realizing it. Your money's just gone. So I started thinking about all that stuff, and it just really helped me because of that money that I was saving by not doing all this shit. It helped me, whether it was invest more money into the clothing line or travel or into my car, just shit that I wanted to do. Because for me, I had a lot of friends pass away, like, the last, like, 10 years, I guess, 5 years. Like, I just had a bunch of friends dying. It was, like, crazy shit. My friend Nicole's on her way to Chicago to see her boyfriend. The bus slid out on the highway. Road sign broke the window and hit her. She was the only one on the bus that got hurt and died. Only one. Buddy Kyle because you went to East, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, remember Kyle
Thompson?
Yeah, he dropped a weight on his neck working out. He passed away.
Yeah.
Like, just working out, dude. And then I just had other friends, like, just crazy shit, people just dying. And it put me in this perspective. I was like, you can literally, like, just be walking down the street, and then, like, a fucking car hits you and you're dead. So that put me into this perspective of, like, I want to be happy. I don't give a fuck what it is or what I'm doing. I just want to be happy. You know, I want to be happy, and I want to try and change the world as much as I can so that other people around me can be happy. You know, like, that's just what I wanted to do. So yeah, just cars and, you know, doing that stuff.
Like, is that why, like, because I see your post, man, and I appreciate you for this one too. Like, on New Year's Eve, you're like a DD for the city.
Yeah. So I started that, I think, my first year. Of course, you know, money was involved at first too, because I'm always thinking, like, hey, how can I make more money? And not just for me, but how can I invest and do this, you know, because I run 2 businesses, you know, the clothing line, and then I sell right-hand drive cars now. But it always, for me, it was just like, how can I make more money, or how can I better myself and do stuff like this? And so I went downtown with a sign that just said, like, DD driver, and it was like $10 or some shit. And, like, it started with that. And then, you know, I try to be a good person too, obviously. And so that started, I've been doing that status for 10 years. The last, over 10 years, I've posted like, you can go into your Facebook memories and scroll the years. And yeah, that post every 10 years, every year, boom, 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 boom. Yeah, the first, or the 31st is the first. Yeah, me every single year. And it pops off. People always share it and stuff. And I don't do it for the money. I do it to help people, obviously, because I care about people and I care about your well-being, and I'm not out getting fucked up. I ain't got shit else to do. I may as well make some money and save people, from drunk driving and shit. What the fuck, why not?
Yeah.
And I'm always meeting cool people. Like, I was Ubering for a while. Dude, it was a blast. I was, making okay money, and just the people I was meeting professional athletes. Fuck, I was meeting sex workers and shit. I was meeting security guards. Dude, old people. Like, dude, it was like from here to here. Every person between that spectrum, I was just meeting. And it was cool as fuck just to hear all these stories and shit. So yeah, that's how that started. Like, it was just like, fuck it, I'm not getting fucked up. I have nothing going on. Yeah. I may as well make some money and help people. Why not? Oh, so yeah. So I've been doing that the past, I think it's 12 years.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy.
Do you ever remember nights where they probably came in there puking in your car?
Oh, dude, I remember this one chick from Uber. She got in. She was fucked up. I got a crazy story. So when that popped off, that was on the Reddit page or shit. I'll tell that story next. But this one chick at Uber ride, she gets in my back seat. I'm like, hey, how are you? No answer. She's fucked up. And I'm like, all right, cool. All right, we'll get going. And yeah, she's fucked up. Yeah. So I'm looking on the thing, like, okay, cool, we're going here. So we're going, and within the first 5 minutes of the ride, I can tell if you want to be left the fuck alone, which is fine. We can talk. I get it. You want to get an Uber, you typically don't want to talk to people, but that's fine. But I want to at least see if you want to be talked to, because I don't know if you're having a bad day. My main thing is I always try to ask people how their day is going and stuff, because it'll change their entire demeanor. Try that. If you walk into a gas station and you'll see that fucking clerk just sad or whatever, hey, how are you? How's your day going? Their entire demeanor would change, because it shows them oh shit, this fucking random dude cares. Every time I always try and compliment people, with anybody, I don't give a fuck, men, women, anybody, anything in between, I don't care. I always try and compliment them. But hey man, I like your hat, or girl, your eyebrows look great. Their entire demeanor will change. Yeah. And it really will set their day off. And I benefit from that too, because I'm oh, cool. I just, I might not be having a good day, and I'm yo, girl, your eyebrows, they look amazing. Or what's up, dude? That outfit is sick. Where'd you get that jacket at and shit? Earlier I said this, I was yo, where'd you get that hoodie? That hoodie's sick. Yeah, shows people you care, and then I get something from it, because then you're happy. I'm cool. I just made this guy's day and shit, or whatever. Okay. So I always try to gauge okay, cool, we can have a conversation. All right, cool, I'll leave you the fuck alone, it's fine. Yeah. I'm hey, how's it going? No fucking answer. She's fucked up in my car. So then try and talk again. Nah, she's fucked up. She doesn't know where she's at. So this chick, I shit you not, she's in the back seat. She's throwing up. I'm looking, and it's not in my car. She's in her purse, dude. She's head deep in her purse. Throwing up, and I'm just oh, that poor girl, dude. Oh no, I'm not kidding, the ride was 10 minutes long. I remember it, because I was oh my god, it was so bad. She threw up the entire 10 minutes in her fucking purse. God. And then I'm all right, here we are, have a good night. No words, thrown up, just gets out and goes to her door. I'm oh my god, tomorrow's gonna suck. She's gonna wake up fuck. And then her purse just be filled with puke. And you know how girls are? They have everything in their fucking purse. Everything is in that shit. Literally everything is in that shit. So I'm oh, dude, that sucks. So that was one of them. But my worst Uber story, I still have that somewhere. Long story short, I pick up this chick. She's carried to my car. She's fucked up. Carried to my car. And a lot of situations like this have put the bad taste in my mouth of I'm never drinking. I'm never doing drugs. This shit's crazy. I don't want any part of this. I just don't want to do it. If y'all do it, that's cool. As long as, my thing is, if it doesn't affect your surroundings, it doesn't affect me or my surroundings, why the fuck should I care what you do? I don't give a fuck what you do. Wear a dress, fucking climb a building, do what I don't give a fuck. If it doesn't interfere with me or my surroundings, I don't give a shit. And that's what's so great about America. That's what's great about it. Do what the fuck you want to do. Doesn't affect me. I don't care. Right. So anyway, so she's carried to my car. Yeah, it's true. So she's carried to my car. She's fucked up. And with situations like that, I try to see okay, did they drug her? What's going on? But it was her girlfriends were there, and they were telling me okay, here's her address. Make sure she's okay. I'm I got it. Don't worry. Yeah. So in the car, she is incoherently babbling just about random crazy shit, and I'm okay. Yeah, we'll just get you to your place. I get to her place. She gets out my car, and I'm hey, do you need me to help you? Because sometimes you just gotta get drunk people out of your car. You gotta help them. So like I like help her to like the step. Okay, cool. Have a good night. Bye. Get back to my car. She comes like sprinting back to my car. She's like, oh, I left my keys or something. I'm like, oh, okay. So, and people are gonna watch this and be like, oh fuck, I remember that story. I Facebook lived it after a while and it blew up. It was on Reddit and shit. I got noticed at the mall by people. They were like, you're the Uber driver from Facebook Live. And I was like, yeah, that's me. So she comes running back to my car because she like fucking left her keys, right? 1 second, I'm getting a phone call. She left her keys. No. So left her keys, right? And she is in the back seat. You know, I'm helping her look. I'm like, I don't see him. I don't know what's going on. Sorry, blah, blah, blah. Well, then she hops in the front seat. And I'm like, fuck, I thought I left the door locked. Like, shit. Yeah. And she's like, I'm not getting out of my car without my keys. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, I'm like, I don't have your keys. She's like, I'm not leaving until I have my keys. I'm like, I don't have your keys. And then so this shit's going on. She's like yelling and going off. And I'm not leaving, and keys this and keys that. Well, this neighbor guy comes down and he knows her and he's like, oh, she's fucking crazy and this and that, blah, 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 and whatever and whatnot. So at this point, I get on Facebook Live because like shit's about to pop off. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm not dealing with this. I was like, she says one thing wrong, like he stole this from me or he touched me, you know, like I'm in trouble. Like this, and then my well-being, my job, like everything is at risk right now. Yeah. And I didn't have cameras at the time, so I Facebook Live it. And she like tried fucking like tackling me and shit. Like I think I still have the video. I'll send it to you. Yeah. Anyway, so this is on Facebook Live. My friend said that he had a party that night and he saw this, and so he Apple TV'd it, and him and his homies were watching it instead of the movie they were watching. They're eating popcorn and shit. They're like, bro, it's like the funniest shit ever. So anyways, that happened. Crazy shit's going on. The cops finally come out. She's laying on the ground screaming and like just being nuts. And I you know, I'm like being a dick and shit. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, get out the fucker. Like, I'm an asshole. I'm like popping off. I'm like, I don't have time for this. Like, I have I need to make money. You know, now I have to deal with this and I can't leave. It was a Lyft ride. I remember that because they barred her from using Lyft and she had to use Uber. Anyways, so cops come out. Cops are like, yo, we'll handle this. We're sorry. I'm like, oh God, thank you. So keep in mind, remember the neighbor, right? Yeah. So the neighbor messages me and is like being cool with me. I think he found me on Facebook because of that live video. Yeah. Her family saw a live video and was like, can you please take it down? Yeah. And I was like, I can't right now because Lyft needs to review this because this is my proof that like I didn't do anything wrong. Okay, This is my proof. I'm not deleting it yet. I understand that it's hard for you because your daughter's acting a fucking fool. Yeah. Like I can't, like for legal purposes right now. I'm sorry. Yeah. They're like, okay, understandable. Well, she found the video. The chick that was in the video found it and was commenting and talking shit to everybody in the video. I was like, oh, fuck you, boy, this and that. So that neighbor, right, the guy, he pops off. He messages me from like 3 different fake accounts and this and that and how he's a Drake law student and you're going to have to do some things for me if you don't want to like go to jail and go to prison. Dude, he was trying to get me to have sex with him to delete this video. I'm not kidding you. It was like, I was like, I'm living in a fucking alternate universe. I was like, my life is a lie right now. Like, what the fuck is going on, dude? It was the craziest shit ever. Anyway, so that happened. That was shared all over Facebook. That blew up. It got like 25,000 views and shit. It blew up like a little locally. Yeah. And then it went on the front page of Reddit. It was like Lyft driver, blah, blah, blah. So it was on Reddit. Yeah, I was on Reddit all big as fuck. And then I was recognized by people at the mall and shit. They're like, yo, you're that Uber driver. Oh my God. And then in the video, remember she was on the ground like flopping around and shit. I was like, I said something like floppy fish or something, and everybody was like, oh my God, floppy fish. So I made floppy fish stickers, and I was like selling them on my clothing line and shit. Yeah, dude, I was just blow up? Well, I mean, it didn't like blow up, but I was like, you know, doing shit like that. The stickers were sick. They were. I'll have to send them to you if I still have them somewhere. But yeah, they were floppy fish stickers. So yeah, I just like coined that term, floppy fish or whatever. But yeah, so that blew out. That was like my craziest Uber story. Was that chick right there? Yeah. Yeah, and a funny story was Ubering because remember she can't use Lyft. So I was Lyft. Well, then I was Ubering one time, and she popped up on my Uber. I was like, deny. Deny. I'm not doing that.
Not episode number 2.
Hell no. Yeah, denied that shit quick.
He said, Tina.
Because I pulled up like in the area and I was like, oh my god, it's the same. Out, gone. Denied. Yeah, nope. Mm-mm.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's funny. For this podcast, come to an end, let me just ask this on a serious note.
Mm-hmm.
So during the whole COVID and during the whole like Black Lives Matter, I seen that you were really out there with the people.
Yeah.
What did that mean to you, and what was your perspective on the whole?
Well, it just sucks that, people of color, people like you, are still dealing with this shit. It's stupid, man. Why do we care, people's sexual orientation, color of their skin, religion, and that's what I think is so great about America, is we're this giant melting pot. That's what makes America great, is that, you can be what you want to be. That American dream of, you can be black, you can be gay, you can be Muslim, anything, and you can live the American dream of having this freedom and stuff and whatnot. That's the American dream. That's what makes America great. And it just sucks that you guys still have to go with this shit. I'm obviously not black. I am white as fuck, okay? I will never experience, racism like that. But I will experience to an extent of, I have tattoos and my car, I look like I'm up to no good and stuff. I've experienced bad situations with a police officer, and I understand that these situations have different outcome because of my white skin, because of white privilege. One time I was coming home, cops followed me, and right before my house was a stop sign. Literally, if you, it was winter and you would slide through the stop sign, you would end up in my front yard. Yeah. And I stopped at that stop sign because I was like, if I don't stop at the stop sign long enough, they're going to use that as probable cause to pull me over. Mm. They did. They even said, we pulled you over because we ran the stop sign. I said, no, you didn't. Yeah. I said, I did not. Yeah. I said, I purposely stopped because you would use as probable cause. So I stopped, pulled in the driveway, they put on their flashers. As I'm getting on the car, dude, I met with guns in my fucking driveway. It's 2 a.m. in my driveway. So now I'm all my neighbors will think I'm fucking up to no good, you know? They're like, get the fuck. I'm like, are you fucking kidding? I'm on my property. You guys are going to hold the guns, Yeah. And, so I'm arguing with them, which don't do that if your skin's a few shades darker than mine. Yeah. And so I'm arguing with them and shit. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? And so, they're like, why'd you run the stop sign? I didn't fucking run the stop sign. He said, you guys followed me for a few blocks. I was like, I get it. My car looks like I'm up to no good. I'm wearing a fucking hat. The tint's dark in the rear. You can't see my car. I got tattoos and shit. I was like, I get it. Yeah. But I was like, what the fuck's your problem? What's your probable cause? What are you doing? So they wrote me a ticket for my license plate being fucked up or something, which I fought and beat. Yeah. The judge was like, they wrote you a ticket for license plate being fucked up. I was like, I don't fucking know. And I took photos of my license plate here. And they dismissed it. So they pulled me over for no fucking reason and then held me at gunpoint in my fucking driveway. Yeah, wow. And that's what I'm saying. I've experienced this shit. And dude, if I 100% believe if my skin was a few shades darker, I would have got shot. Or something bad would have happened. But that's my take on it, is with George Floyd and shit, and this has started years ago, with Trayvon Martin and stuff, it sucks that people of color are still getting this bad rap. People are still racist and still scared and stuff. And it's I don't know what it's like to be in your skin. It just sucks that we still live in this year where it's people, and it is predominantly people of color that are being mistreated by cops. But still, we just had I can't think of his name, but that white guy that. Do you remember Breonna Taylor? She was sleeping and shit, and they no-knock raided the house, which I'm pretty sure was the wrong house, and fucking killed her in her sleep. Mm-hmm. And even people are like, oh, it was her. I'm like, she was sleeping in her fucking apartment, and the cops kicked in the wrong door and killed her. The hell the fuck? Are you kidding me? Right? So then, months after that white guy, do you remember that? Yeah. The cops knocked on the door, beat the fuck out of it, and he, goes to check the door with his gun. Because if you fucking knock on my door and I have a gun, I'm going to fucking come out. So he comes out and he sees that they're cops. He's like, oh shit. And he goes to put the gun down and they just light his ass up. I'm like, how in the fuck is every NRA member or every fucking extreme right-wing white guy with a gun, how the fuck are they not are you kidding me? Yeah. This is this man's Second Amendment right to have a gun, and these cops knock on the door. It's, I don't know, what, 2 a.m. or some shit, you'd knock on my fucking door. Hell yeah, I'm answering the door with a gun. What the fuck are you doing,
It's 2 a.m.
Yeah, and so, that's what I'm saying, and so, they fucking killed him right in front of his fucking girlfriend, dude. And that's what I'm saying. I'm like, so now I'm like, now look, see, now it is obviously a person, like a people of color problem, but now it's just, they're not giving a fuck. And I have friends that are officers and stuff too, and like, I'm not saying that every cop is bad. Okay, I'm not saying that. Like, not every black person's bad and every white person's bad. I totally get that. Yeah. But once you work for this system that is pretty much set up on oppressing people of color and people that are poor and stuff like this, like, and you're not trying to fix that problem, then you are part of the problem. Amen. Like, silence is violence. Mm-hmm. That's the problem. If you're not using your voice to help with this issue, then you are part of the problem. And that was my big thing with a lot of, I'm obviously as left as it is, but I have friends that are right wing and stuff, and that's not the problem. But I just can't be a part of a party where there are literal racists, cross burnings and shit, waving a Confederate flag at the state capitol, when they just stormed the Capitol. Yeah. Like if I was there and I'm a Republican and I'm like, tyranny and this and fight for our rights, I totally get that. But then homeboys over here waving a Confederate flag, me not being racist, I'd be like, the fuck are you doing? Like, no, fuck you racist shit. Like, no, because then you're giving me a bad name. Yep. I'm here because of this, because of my beliefs in this and that. But then you're over here on my side being racist, and you don't say shit, then you become part of the problem. Then you're racist, and that's my thing on it is, you don't see anybody on the left waving a Confederate flag,
that man talking heavy.
Yeah, it's true, man. Like I would be beating the fuck out of him. Like, what the fuck is your problem, dude? Like, no, because not only are you wrong because you're racist and you're a piece of shit, and you lost because you're the fucking Confederate state and you lost, so you're a loser, and you committed, treason, so you're just completely out of your ballpark. You know what the fuck you're talking about. Yeah. But now you're making me look bad because the left over here, anybody in this sees you waving this flag, I'm on the right side, and now everybody thinks I'm racist because you're over here waving this flag. You see what I'm saying? And it just becomes a bad rap. Like, that's the thing, is silence is violence. And if you don't just speak up, but fight the oppressors. That's the thing there. So yeah, I was out in the streets, I was protesting and stuff. I went to Minneapolis, actually, where they burned down the police station and shit. I walked right through the police station. I walked through, I have videos, dude, that shit was crazy. Even though it was like the most craziest shit that I've ever experienced in my life. Buildings on fire, fucking getting tear gassed and fucking rubber bullets everywhere. People literally just there's graffiti artists in the fucking street, just broad daylight, dude, just tagging shit. Even though all this crazy shit was going on, it was the safest that I've ever felt in my life because you were there and everybody knew why you were there, and it was just it wasn't all this crazy chaos and anarchy like everybody thought. I mean, it was to an extent, but it's extreme. I made a shirt. What's the shirt say? I made a George Floyd shirt, and then the proceeds from that went to the Des Moines BLM. But I can't think of what the back of the shirt said. Oh, it says reasonable people are driven to do unreasonable things, which is a Killdozer quote. Did you ever hear about Killdozer? Mm-hmm. All right, so long story short, there's this guy named Marvin in Colorado, and he wanted to open up, or he had a muffler shop. Well, the city was trying to build something through his, I need to reiterate on it, but there's a documentary on Netflix. But so the city was trying to build some shit through his property, and he was trying to do everything in his power to make sure he still had access to his muffler shop. And the city was building right through it, and he even bought his own bulldozer to try and do his own stuff. And the city was pretty much trying to shut him down because this other company was this bigger company and was trying to fuck the little guy out, right? Yeah. So he got so fed up and he tried to do everything that he could that he said fuck it, and he built this bulldozer into this giant killing machine. Literally bulletproof metal. He had guns, he had cameras and shit.
This is real?
This is real, dude. This shit happened. It's the greatest story I've ever heard. Especially, because I'm fucking fight the power, man. Power to the people. So he straight up tried everything he could, and then finally was you know what? Fuck this. So he built the bulldozer that he had. He built it into this killing machine, and then lowered this bulletproof shit onto it, and drove through and busted every fucking building in that city. Not just down, dude. He hit he had a list of like all the people that wronged him and all the businesses that wronged him, and he just plowed through all that shit. Wow. Yeah, and he was just like, I tried to be reasonable. Like, I tried to be reasonable, and I was reasonable until I wasn't reasonable anymore. And that's the thing, you know, is people of color and just people in general, you know, like, we've tried to be reasonable about this, and this isn't happening. You know, so now we are forced to do this and this. And so, now you're listening. Oh, the Target's on fire, so your white privileged ass can't go shopping at Target. I'm sorry. But people of color are here getting gunned down in the fucking streets because of a fucking Skittles bag. Like, I'm sorry to inconvenience you for 10 minutes out of your day, fucking Karen. You know.
Hey, this is everybody, you know.
It's true, man. And
I'm sorry you can't go.
I'm sorry you can't go fucking shopping at Target. We have people dying in the streets. So after this problem's fixed, then you can go shop at Target. Sorry, Karen. But and it sucks because, like, you know, like, once again, not all Republicans, but boomers, just old people in general, they have the point, you know, because they're always like, yeah, fuck the government. I need guns to protect myself from the tyrannical government and shit. And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, and fucking Satanist lizard people, Democrats. And I'm like, no, like, you're right there. Like, you're so close to the point. Like,
why'd you veer off?
Yeah, where is this coming from? You know, it blows my mind because, you know, they're always like, oh, well, you know, why does the government need to do this and that and my rights and this and that? But then, like, they only care about their rights. You know, they don't care about. It's such an old way of thinking. I'm like, why? Like, the United States is the only well-developed nation that doesn't have, like, affordable health care or universal health care in general, affordable college or anything like that. Like, all of these other countries,
Canada,
it's just everything. Yeah. And it's not. I think we rank, I just checked, it's like 26th or 19th in science, healthcare, and education. We're the greatest nation in the world, but we rank 19th. How? How? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's those small things. Like, it just blows my mind. Like, if I break my fucking arm, I have to sell my house or some shit, you know? Just because, like, the healthcare here, like, it's not great. I have friends, you know, that are from Sweden and Canada and Australia. And, like, everyone's like, what the fuck is going on there? And I'm like, I don't know, but we're number one. In what, COVID deaths? You know, like, my friends that are in touring bands, they're not doing anything here because we can't, because COVID. Yeah. So they're literally booking tours in, like, Germany and just Europe. They're booking tours there because they can't tour here. All these other places, are, like, you know, the cases are diminishing, you know? Yes. So that's what I think. That's what's gonna happen, man. Is we have, like, what, 10,000 deaths now, and all these other places are just like, oh, like, we're still doing shit. I mean, we are too, but we still have people dying. They're like, yeah, we handled this like you're supposed to handle it at first, and now we're fine.
Do you think, like, this will be the new normal, wearing masks, staying 6 feet apart?
I mean, in America, yeah. That's what sucks. Like, America. Yeah. And it just blows my mind that people are like, oh, fucking, I can't wear a mask. It's against my rights. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, just wear a mask, dude. I'm like, do you cover your mouth when you sneeze or cough? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, it's the same fucking thing as wearing a mask. Like, it makes sense that this virus isn't spreading if you're not coughing and breathing on everything and everyone. It just makes sense. Like, in Japan, when people, like, have a cold or something, they wear a mask because they don't want the germs to spread. It just makes sense. You know, I don't want my germs to spread. I'm gonna cough my fucking arm. It makes sense. If you're not wearing a mask, like, it just makes sense. The germs are spreading. But yeah, but it's against our rights. It's like, no, if you should have just wore the mask for the first fucking 6 months, and the government should have helped, you know, rent freezes and mortgage freezes and helped out and shit. And that's the thing too, is, like, I don't blame everybody. I totally get it. I don't blame everybody. Like, you know, for instance, before COVID, if I was sick, I still went to work because I don't get paid sick days and shit. And this is before FedEx. I didn't get paid sick days. I'm gonna be home. I'm gonna be missing out on money. You know, why should I care? Because I need to go to work. I need to get this bread so I can provide for me and, like, my family and shit. That's what I'm saying. I get that mindset, you know, like that. And that's personally from me. I was sick. I had a cold or something. I'm going to work. Unless I'm fucking dying, then I'm not going to work. But if I'm not dying, I'm going to work. I don't care how sick I am. And so that's the thought process with everybody, because it's America. I have friends that, like, you know, went to other countries and they're like, oh, what about sick days? And they're like, Sick days? What do you mean?
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, if I'm sick, like, they're like, oh, then you're just sick.
Yeah.
You get paid for that day. And they're just like, oh, I don't have allotted sick days? Like, no, like, what?
Yeah, what is sick
And then they're like, oh, you're American. Okay, this makes sense. So, yeah, so I'm saying, like, I don't have sick days. You know, I don't have this shit, whatever. And if I miss so many days, then I'm out of work. So it starts at the top. So if the government, you know, froze mortgages and froze rent and did all these things and maybe gave us some money to live off of and actually cared and took the pandemic seriously, it would put everybody else in this mindset of like, okay, cool. I don't have to fucking worry about my mortgage right now. It's frozen. Okay. We're good. You know, if jobs provided sick days or paid sick leave and all this shit, okay, that's fine. I'm not sick with COVID. So now I can stay home and I have paid sick days and stuff. I'm okay. Yeah. But now there's no paid sick days and all this shit. The fucking mortgages are freezing. So now I'm like, dude, if I have COVID, I'm sorry. I have to go to work and provide for my family. Facts. So that's how all this shit's. So it starts at the top, you know, and that's what I'm saying. I don't blame everybody. I get it. You know, I totally get it because it's America and that's just what the fuck you gotta do and it sucks. So I don't blame people. Like, yo, you're sick with COVID, you go to work. I mean, you shouldn't. Yeah. You shouldn't. But I get it because we have this capitalistic mindset that it's like, yeah, fuck it. You know, and that's what sucks. It starts at the top. And that's what all these other countries, they're doing shit right. And so they were easy to fucking, boom, done. Like lockdowns, all this shit, paid sick leaves, mortgage freezes, all this stuff. So now they're fine and we're just fucked.
Do you think it's going to get worse or do you think?
I don't know. Because of winter, because I remember last year when that shit happened, I was working for Delta Airlines. And I was sick as fuck. I went to work, no paid sick leave. Remember, I had to go to work. I was sick as fuck. I was doing security checks on a plane, throwing up, dying. I was literally like in the row in the toilet, fucking dying, and I had to get sent home. Yeah, and so that was before like COVID, which you remember, like a lot of people got like really fucking sick and they're like, oh shit, that must have been COVID. Yeah. I probably had COVID, but I was like sick as fuck. And
a lot of my friends be saying that, like, oh, I was sick at the beginning of the year and that.
Yeah. You're like, what? Yeah, no. I was like dying, dude. It sucks so bad.
Damn. That's crazy. Man.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. It just starts at the top and yeah. So yeah, next question, go ahead.
Yes, sir. So, what can people look forward to in the next upcoming year from you and stuff like that?
So as long as COVID, or as long as not COVID, as long as we abide by the rules and stuff.
That's very true.
Yeah, it's true. I mean,
protocols.
COVID is a thing, whether you like it or not, and it's up to you and your legislatures and people above to, you know, put in the work and make sure we don't all just fucking die from this pandemic while the rest of the world progresses and watches us like we're the laughing stock the last 4 years, because that's what it's been. But so as long as we abide by these rules, take that anti-maskers, then, you know, car shows can be a thing, hopefully, which even through COVID, I threw a car show, but I was like, just fucking wear a mask. Like, you know, do that 6 feet, appreciate cars, wear a mask. But hopefully, if COVID doesn't work out, like, if COVID kind of starts diminishing and stuff, then car shows and shit that I thoroughly enjoy doing will hopefully come back. But with my business partner, Brad, we are trying to open up a dealership, right-hand drive dealership here in the Midwest. We have 3 or 4 cars now. I think 2 on the way from Japan right now. Then we have 2 here, but we're just trying to sell right-hand drive cars. It's not even just right-hand drive cars. It's anything that wasn't in the American market. So anything 25 years or older that's from overseas, let us know. We can get you what you want if we don't have it. So I'm trying to do that, really capitalize on that, which is why that's why I've been doing less of my clothing line. It's just because I just don't have the time to devote to that. So just that, I'm just trying to build cars. Travel, I'm saving for Japan right now. Really want to fucking travel. If you don't have this app, there's this app called Acorns, which basically takes money. So, like, let's say you make an online purchase, whether it's PayPal, your card, or whatever, you can link all your cards and PayPal and stuff. So any online transaction, let's say you paid $5.50 for something, it'll round it up to the nearest dollar, so 6 cents, and take that 50 cents and put it in a savings account. Yeah, so I was doing that, and I just forgot about it. I have like $1,200 in an account.
Wow.
Yeah.
Acorns, you said?
Yeah, from Acorns, yeah. And then what's cool is they take that money and they invest it in penny stocks and stuff too. So you have like a little portfolio. But you can take that money out of that account anytime.
Y'all heard that, right?
Acorns, do it.
Y'all hear that?
Yeah, so do it. I'm serious. I just have money just chilling that I forgot about. And I was like, oh, fuck, I need to check my Acorns account. And what's cool is you can set up auto transactions. So, like, I think, like, $40 a month I just put into that account. I'm not going to fucking remember $40.
Yeah.
You know? $40, I don't give a fuck. So, yeah, that's, like, my Japan fund. And then I just bought a Ruckus scooter, those, like, slammed and stretched ones. So I'm, like, going to repaint all that and do that. I'm trying to get my car finished so I can do car shows. Like I told you, I just had too many friends pass away and shit. It put me in this perspective that I'm like, I just want to be happy. Like, I just want to do shit. You know, I want to travel. I want to fucking get my car finished. I just want to enjoy this shit because I could die tomorrow with $1 million in the bank. You know, I would rather spend that money on what I love and other people that need help with stuff. Like, dude, if I won the lottery, what's the lottery at? The lottery right now is almost at like $1 billion.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah, and the newspaper, like,
what would you do with that after taxes? Let's say you get $700 million. What the fuck would you do with $700 million?
Man.
People are always like, I would invest that. I'm like, invest in what? You have $700 million. You don't need to invest in shit.
Yeah,
How the fuck are you going to spend $700 million in one lifetime? You're not.
Make sure my people's good.
Everybody. Dude, I would just
travel.
I would just be giving money away. I would just be spending money. Like, it just blows my mind that, like, and I totally understand that billionaires aren't, like, hoarding this wealth in, like, a bank account like a dragon. I get that. But they're still, like, you know how much $1 billion is? Here, hold up. I have, on my phone, I have this thing saved. I need to find it. But it puts you in perspective of, like, how much $1 billion is. Let me see if I can find it really quick, okay?
Jeez.
And I love doing this because so many people, like, have no idea how much $1 billion truly is, okay? Here it is, right here. Ready? I have it saved right here. It gives you like 4 little like exercises. So, this is one of my favorite ones. There's 2 right here. So, let's say you're trying to save $1 billion and you're able to save your money at a rate of $100 per day. Okay. So, do you know how many years it would take to reach $1 billion if you try and save $100 a day?
I don't even think you'd be able to.
Take a wild guess.
How many years?
How many years? So if you $100 a day into a savings account to reach $1 billion, how long do you think that would take?
I want to say like 100 years.
It would take you 27,397 years to reach $1 million. Isn't that fucking nuts? That's $1 billion. Dude. One. Okay, here's my next exercise. Okay, because people. They defend billionaires like they're one day going to be a billionaire.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm like, motherfucker, the Kardashians don't give a fuck about you, let alone Jeff Bezos. Like, and that's the thing with the government and politics. You know, it's like, all these people, you know, people are like, oh, you voted for Joe Biden? I'm like, yeah, because I think he was the lesser of 2 evils, but like, do I think Joe Biden's gonna do shit for me? Yeah. Fuck no. Like, I'm like, dude, out of all these picks for presidents and shit, like, these motherfuckers was Donald Trump and Joe Biden. They're like almost 80 years old. Mm-hmm. They don't speak for me. They don't give a fuck about anything I have to say. They're gonna die in like 10 years, dude. They just care about their fucking rich friends and getting them richer, dude. That's the thing. That's why I was such a big Bernie Sanders supporter. Because fucking Bernie Sanders was out marching with Dr. Luther King and was chained to a black woman protesting segregation. That's why I'm a huge Bernie supporter, man. It's because even if you didn't care about all of his policies and shit, he was still a genuinely good human being. And I've met Bernie Sanders and I've talked to him. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. He's just a genuine good human being. And that's why he may be old, but he still was fighting for the people. Fucking Joe Biden and shit, all these motherfuckers, they're just old, dude. They don't give a fuck what they have to say. Yeah. That's why a lot of people are right. They're like, oh, well, Joe Biden. I'm like, fuck him too. Fuck him too. Like, you don't see me like trying to, like, I'm not waving, you know, that's the thing with Biden supporters. They're not going to be waving fucking Biden flags and wearing blue Biden hats and flags and fucking get Biden to, like, no, like, there's no cult following for that. Yeah. Like, not at all, man. And that's why I'm just like, fuck him too. You know, fuck all these politicians. Like, I elected you. Hopefully you're doing good. If you're not, fuck you. I'm a human being. You know, I'm not left. I'm not right. My beliefs lean left, you know, but dude, if you're a shitty politician, fuck him. Fuck him. Guillotine his ass. So here's my next one. Back on subject. Okay. So yeah. All right. So let's say you want to count to 1 billion. Okay. Yeah. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 1 billion. So keep in mind when you get to 100, 101, 102. When you get to 1,000,000, 1 million, blah blah blah, and 1. So it takes a while to say those numbers because they're longer, right?
Right.
So 1, 2. So it takes I don't know a second to say those, right? So you'll be able to say small numbers like 4 or 31 fairly rapidly. Most numbers between 1 billion are long and challenging to pronounce, okay? So let's say you want to count to 1 billion consecutive, straight up. Right now, we start count to 1 billion. How long is it going to take for us to count to 1 billion?
Shit, bro. I want to say like 3 days, maybe.
95 years.
Oh my God. That's funny as fuck.
95 fucking years. That's how long it's going to take you to count to 1 billion. 1.
What the
Yeah, if you have that much money, you're not doing shit with it, you're a super villain, dude. You're a fucking super villain, man.
Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos, you think they're
super villains? I mean, yeah, they're worth like hundreds of billions. Granted, they have that money in assets and shit, whatnot. Yeah. But I'm sure they have so much money and so much power that like they could literally end world hunger. Like you can just end shit. Like if you have that much money and you're not like reinvesting that into your communities and this and that and whatnot. Like, dude, like I said, if I won that Powerball, let's say I get $700 million after taxes, my ass, I'll be walking down the fucking streets. I'll just be throwing money at people, dude. Because you can't. I mean, you can spend $700 million in a lifetime, but like that's a lot of fucking spending. That's a lot of spending, dude. I would be like, oh, there's a pothole here. Nope. I would like hire my own team of like. It would be like the city, you know, like how Des Moines has like the city come out and fix potholes. It would be like the Jake Gracey team would come and I'd be fixing potholes. I'd be like, oh, you have a fucking hole in your house because of the fucking Derico we just had it? Nope, not anymore. Like, build a new house. Like,
right off.
I'd just be doing dumb shit with that money. Like, it would just be absurd. Like, I couldn't even imagine having that much money, man.
Bro, I'm right there with you.
It'd just be stupid.
Like,
stupid shit.
The shit that I would even try to build, bro.
Oh, it would just be absurd. Like, all that money, like, I'd be doing money for good, but I would be like, I'm gonna build a skyscraper in my backyard. Yeah. Like, there's I can't think of the guy's name, but it's like one of the rich guys. I think he made, that Roundup, like, weed killer spray. Ankeny, yeah. That dude had so much money that he lobbied the city to allow him to build an on and off ramp by his business. You know how much money you have to do to do that? Yeah. No, the fucking city, I don't know how much it is. I'm sure it's a lot.
Yeah.
Like, literally, he built off of the interstate. He paid the city, or I don't know how, but they built an on and off ramp right in front of his business. For one, for more business so people can get to his business faster. For two, for convenience. The dude has like a 9-hole golf course. Yeah.
In Ankeny, right?
In Ankeny, yeah.
I heard about that.
I don't remember his name, but
he owns like a bunch. Man, me and my bro.
It's crazy.
Don't even own like damn near half of Ankeny as well.
I don't know. I've just heard stories, but crazy shit.
Wow. Damn.
Yeah, because you know the city, you know they're like, oh, we can't do this because coding and zoning and this and that. Yeah. That motherfucker's like, stacks. Build me on and off ramp right here. And they were just like, all right, sounds great.
Let's go. Wow, bro.
Yeah.
So he sold Roundup or some shit, right?
Yeah, he invented that.
He went to Iowa State or whatever?
Yeah, I don't know his name or the full story, but I remember he like invented Roundup. Or a knockoff of Roundup, because I remember Roundup was like causing cancer or some shit.
Yeah.
So it like backfired. He's like, get money, and he's like, oh shit, I'm causing cancer in people.
Let me sell. I mean, it's not funny.
Yeah, it's fucked up, but
it's not funny at all. But yeah, that's some crazy shit, man. Bro, this has been a good ass podcast.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I had a blast going through memory lane and just talking about stuff, and we covered a lot of topics.